All right. So I am back with Neil Timmons again today. Neil is in my mentorship program for commercial real estate and real estate development. And we had Neil the other day talking about a case study where he did a multi property deal, ended up with $1 million in equity, no cash out of his pocket. We did that on a case study. And Neil has now put together a program. He's doing a live masterclass tomorrow on Saturday. Today is Friday, October 7th. Tomorrow, Saturday, October the 8th. What time is that going to be?
2 o'clock Central.
2 o'clock Central. It's going to be a live masterclass on how to do commercial deals, how to do a 20x deal. In other words, earn 20 times more than you would on any other residential deal. Learn how to do commercial real estate. And then for everybody who shows up, he's got a special 5-day training he's going to send you that's very in depth, including documents, downloads, all that. Unbelievable that you're doing this. It's going to be a fantastic opportunity for people. So, Neil, tell us all about it.
No, I'm excited. We talk a lot about 20x deals, and it's about how do we elevate up and out of. And Greg, my background. I started in as a residential broker, right? I started selling houses, then I morphed into being an investor in single families, and I morphed up and out of that into commercial. And the cash flow is so much better, right? The equity for the goal is 20x. How do we just level up what we're doing so we can produce massive passive income and ultimately do work once so we can live off it for forever and have control over that. And so I'm just sharing that with folks, and it's been very well received. And that's why I'm doing a live event tomorrow, web class, so we can go through really what are the secrets to breaking into this, and how do we dive in, get in, and follow a formula, follow a process, because if success needs to be repeatable. Otherwise, you end up with the cover of Time magazine like Elon Musk. Nobody can repeat that. But success in commercial real estate, there's clues everywhere, and there's a whole process and a formula to this. This is why so many of us have been able to find it and share it with others.
Yeah. There's no secret, nothing new under the sun, but it does take education,
Yeah.
knowledge, skills, abilities. You got to take action. And on that topic, I'm out today, and there's a
Yeah.
nice little commercial dental implant center right there. Friend of mine owns that, and you talk about retirement wealth building. So that generates it paid itself off in 20 years. The tenants paid the property off. It generates about $5,000 net cash flow in his pocket every month from one little building that he bought. I don't know how many years ago. And I'm surrounded by right now this area that I'm in, all these little commercial property, buildings. You see that over there?
Yeah.
Multi-tenant building.
Yep.
There's a bank right there. So these are the types of assets we're talking about, and the same type of asset that you bought, or multiple assets that you bought, that one deal where there was multiple assets, and it was a matter of knowing how to structure the deal, knowing how to spin off one of those assets. So it created the equity. So you ended up getting the deal with no money out of your pocket. Bank financed, by the way,
Bank
still
finance.
no
Yep.
money down,
Right.
bank finance deal. Ended up with $1 million in equity, $100,000, what, a year in positive cash flow right out of the gate.
Correct.
All those properties will pay themselves off in 20 years if you don't refinance them.
Right.
You can refinance and pull equity out as you go along once rates get back into check again. But um, those types of things, it's not rocket science, it's not magic. It's stuff that's been done for hundreds of years with real estate, but you got to know what to do. You got to know where to look, what to look for, how to structure the deals, how to negotiate, where the opportunities are to create value, add value, all those different things. So
Well, they're sleeper deals. They're really right under your nose. But Greg, you ever bought a car, and as soon as you bought a car, all of a sudden you now drive on the road and you're like, oh my gosh, I see my car everywhere. Somebody else is driving it, right? The same thing's true in commercial real estate. Once you understand what you're looking for, all of a sudden the blinders come off like a horse running a race, right? The blinders come off and you're like, oh, there's one. You start seeing these things, and opportunity just comes to you. But as you said, it's having education. It's laying that foundation so you know what to look for. And then once you get in there, so much of this is like single family real estate. The similarities are eerie, just how simple it is in comparison to the two. But you understand that there's a little nuances. And so once you get that down, this process just becomes easier, and then it's totally repeatable.
yeah, you start with one, you go from there, and everybody thinks commercial is so much more difficult or complicated. It's actually easier, and it's a different level. And again, it's just different knowledge, different set of skills, things like that. And just like you, I started with absolutely nothing. I didn't go to college. A lot of people know my story. I went in the Navy right out of high school. I started as a remodeling contractor, and my first deal was a lot flip, and then I started building spec houses. Then I got into commercial properties, and I got into real estate development, developing land.
Yeah.
And each one of those evolutions, the first time seemed difficult, but once I did it, I was like, wow, that wasn't that hard. And then I just had the process and I just duplicated it over and over, which is, you know, what you've created and the system that you put together. And I'm telling you, I've seen what you've done. I mean, it's huge. And the other thing to let people know, a lot of people do master classes and they're nothing but fluff and pitch fest and things like
Right.
that. And I know yours is not. Yours is tomorrow, obviously, it's going to be a higher level, but the 5 day stuff that they're going to get, they could literally take that and never talk to you again and go do a commercial real estate deal.
And implement. Yeah. And I'm giving that away for free. Come register, show up tomorrow just for showing up. I'm sending that to you because I know you're a person that takes action, not just registers for infinite master classes and then doesn't attend. So that's why just show up. The system will tag it and send it out to you because I want to give you such value. Ultimately, so you can go and actually do something. Yeah, you're right, Greg. You and I have been on a whole bunch of these things. It is nothing. I've seen a whole bunch of pitch fests. I actually want to give value, lead with value first, and be able to give you the tools, the training, so that you can actually go do something.
Yeah. And then you also have a boot camp coming up as well, where you're going to do a live event where people can come and learn and then learn how they can go deeper with you.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll absolutely articulate that tomorrow if that's something that folks are interested in what that boot camp looks like. You know, if everybody wants to go deep dive, I want to learn more. I want to really stack this on to my business. So, it doesn't have to replace for those in single family. It doesn't have to replace what you're doing. It can be a complement to what you're doing. And then it's an evolution to be able to get in there. And this is the perfect step to be able to take to the first step in that evolution. What I like, Greg, about this industry, about this business, unlike the single family homes, which I came out of, is that one deal can completely change your entire life. One
That's
deal,
all
one
it takes.
time.
And I've
Yeah, correct.
experienced that. I know you've experienced that. And, those deals of a lifetime that change your life, once you do them, come along every day. They're out there every day. And, it's that first one that you got to get done. And even people, what's really cool about this and just understanding commercial. So if you're in residential, if you're a realtor, if you're a residential investor, the people you deal with know people, they might own a commercial property. They might know somebody that owns a commercial property. And that's the thing I teach everybody. When you're dealing with a seller, the last thing you always ask them is, do you have any other property you'd like to sell? Or do
Correct.
you know anybody else who has any property they'd like to sell? And say, you know what? My boss has a building, or my cousin, or yeah, I've got this, RV park I don't know what to do with, so you just never know where it'll go. And even if you're not interested in doing that deal, what you need to know because you're in the business is how can you maximize the opportunity and bring that to somebody else? Maybe somebody else is interested. And, if you're a wholesaler, you can absolutely wholesale commercial properties, vacant land, all those things, just like you can residential. So, these are the nuggets and the things that, Neil will be able to teach you in his courses or his, event tomorrow. And then that 5 day course that you have goes over on commercial real estate investing. And, I'm a huge proponent of education. I've got my education platform for people, you've got yours now that you're developing. And I mean, one idea, all it takes is one idea, just like
Even
that deal of yours. That was one idea of what do I do with this? I got these 3 buildings, da, da, da.
yeah,
One conversation
correct.
ended up in $1 million in equity, 100K in cash flow, no money out of your pocket to do what was that? 8, 9 million. What was that?
The total purchase price, yeah, just over 9 million.
$9 million deal,
Yeah.
one conversation.
Here's the best part. Everybody go, oh my God, $9 million. How do I get my head wrapped around that? How am I going to buy that? How am I going to find that at? I couldn't do it. I mean, I wasn't writing a $2 million check to go buy this thing. I had to get creative, but I understood the process, the formula to be able to get creative, to carve that thing up, to make it work. And tomorrow I'm going to show 3 separate case studies about how when you understand the formula, even if it's not a property you want to take down yourself, how do you move that along and cash a 6-figure paycheck? I'm going to show a case study of how it's been done 3 times this year. I'm going to go into that deep for folks so they can see what that looks like. Yeah.
That's awesome because, that was the question. When you reached out to me about that deal, you're like, how am I going to get this done?
Yeah.
It started with a question. I can't do this. How can I get this done? And then bam, that's where it comes from.
Correct. What I knew leading up to that, which is what people need to understand, is lay that foundation, is I could identify opportunity. So if you can identify opportunity, carving up that opportunity gets easier. It's your ability to identify opportunity in the front end. What does this look like? All right, now I got something. Now, how do we put it together? How do we carve it up? How do we cash in? That becomes so much simpler.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Neil, I appreciate you doing this and doing this for the audience out there. I'm going to put this up on YouTube for everybody and then send it out to the
Let me give everybody the link for tomorrow, www.20xwebinar.com, 20x webinar.com.
Awesome. And I'll post that in the comments description below as well on the video, and email it out to the list for everybody. So don't miss this. Show up, get there, and get access to that 5-day training as well, because it can and will change your life if you learn it, use it, and take action on it.
Greg, good to see you again, man.